name is Chris Cook. I'm the Parks Commissioner for the City of Boston. In that role, I also serve as the Chief of Energy, Environment, and Open Space. I couldn't be happier to have just walked over from Boston City Hall. I'm a very slow walker, so it took me 8 minutes, but it probably took you folks a lot less than that. But we're very, very happy to be here today to celebrate this major accomplishment on behalf of the City of Boston. And we recognize that it doesn't happen without all our partners. We'll spend some time talking about those partners in a few moments, but now it gives me great honor to introduce to you someone who's been a huge parks champion, not only throughout his entire time in office, but especially this week with his announcement to use our parks and our open space, and also to expand our parks and open space to help the City of Boston prepare and protect itself from climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, please, a nice North End welcome for the Mayor of Boston, Martin J. Walsh.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. I want to thank Chris for all the great work he's done with the Parks Department, and also now in the Environment Department in his leadership. I want to thank Benita Hussein and the trustees for public land for being with us today. Representative Aaron Mikowitz, whose district we're in, but also has been a champion for the park system, not just here in his district in the North End and the South End, but throughout the entire City of Boston, and City Councilor Lady Edwards as well, who's been also a champion in parks here in her district, here in the North End, but also in Charlestown and East Boston. In Boston, we have certainly have a deep pride in our parks, and I want to thank the Friends of Christopher Columbus Park. You are amazing. I say it all the time. We should clap. This park is beautiful because of the incredible work they do, the advocacy they do, all of that stuff. And you know, this is one of the most beautiful parks in the country that we're in today. And that, aside from the location, it's one of the most beautiful parks in the country. The fact that it's on the water is even more incredible. So I want to thank all of you. But our parks and the pride in our parks has been true ever since the first settlers created the first pasture for their livestock. This land has become beloved Boston Common, America's first park, which isn't too far from here. And today our parks bring our neighborhoods closer together, from East Boston to Dorchester, Roxbury to Allston, Brighton area. They help improve our quality of life for our residents, and it's a place, and I always say this, it's a place that everyone can enjoy, whether they're 2 or 102, and everyone in between. See, even the press is covering this from the air today, which is very exciting. We also host youth sports and youth events and community events and places we share us. We had concerts here. We have beautiful during the Christmas season. We light this beautiful park and other parks in the city, which is incredible. And again, it's all the different partners. The park system has been long recognized. Our system in Boston has been long recognized as one of the best in the country. We want to take it even further, and we wanted to make sure Boston has access, and the people in Boston have access to no more than a 10-minute walk from their home. And today, and we can all officially announce that we've achieved that goal, which is a good one. Think about this for a minute. We're the second city in America that have achieved this goal, and we're the first city on the East Coast to reach this milestone. It's a result of a historic investment in our public spaces, including our largest capital budget for parks ever, which we continue to do every single year, which I announced this past spring. It's a testament to the great partners that we have in groups like Trust for Public Lands, Boston Parks Advocates, the state working with us through bond bills and other allocations, through philanthropists, nonprofits. We're all in this together, and together we're creating a greener, healthier, stronger city. It's clear that our parks make a better life and bring our city together, but it's also investing in parks that helps us address one of the biggest challenges of our time, and that's climate change. This week I was talking at the Chamber of Commerce, and I announced the vision for a resilient Boston. It's a system not of barricades, but of parks and beaches and trails and open space. They're elevated to block floods and enhance and create opportunity. So what we're really doing is, a lot of people talk about connecting the harbor to people, and through what we're going to be doing is connecting people back to the harbor. And at every single access point in the city of Boston, people will have the access to the harbor. Just like here in Christopher Columbus Park, if you go over to Dorchester, you'll have access to the harbor. If you go to Mattapan, you'll have access to the harbor. All of the East Boston waterfront, all of Charlestown, all of the North End, all the different areas that we're doing, and making sure that we have access to the waterfront. This plan that we're talking about and creating this barrier for sea level rise, it calls for 67 acres of new open space and 122 acres of revitalized open space on the waterfront. It truly is a vision of more connectiveness to our waterfront and to each other. We're going to make places in our neighborhoods the spaces that people love and safe, and make sure that they're doing everything they need to do. We need to embrace our future with the same values that you see in parks like this one. We need to look at public health and how it affects people's public health, how it affects people's public access, and also we're going to be looking at world-class design as we continue to design, whether it be Four Point Channel or something down in the North End here. We believe that it's in order to face these challenges ahead, we need to look within. We need to maintain and invest the resources that are right here in our neighborhoods. Before I hand it off, I want to just say a few words, a few people who helped us with this. I mentioned them already, but I want to thank Chris Cook. Chris has been an amazing parks commissioner. And the parks in Boston are lucky because we've had a string of amazing people that have run our park system over the last few decades. Chris has done an amazing job, and that's why when the opportunity presented itself to see if Chris would be interested in taking on the head of the environmental department in the city of Boston, I asked him, and one of the first things he said to me was he was concerned about what they're doing in parks. And I said, you have an incredible team. You have Ryan and Jennifer and so many other folks down in the parks department. You have an incredible group of people that work down there. And Laura, I said, Laura, that we can continue to move forward and do a lot of different things. Our friends at the Trustees for Public Lands, thank you. Thank you for your commitment to the city. Thank you to your commitment to our open space. Thank you to your commitment to advancing us and moving us forward. The friends groups, all the friends groups in the city, including Christopher Columbus. Thank you, all the friends groups. We can't do this alone. And to have that opportunity to have neighbors and residents and businesses be part of friends groups really adds to the life of our park and the future of our park. So I want to thank all the friends groups. I want to thank all the advocates that are here today and those that couldn't be here today that might see this later on TV. I want to thank you for your support of this work, and you've been the stewards of our parks and the Parks Department in the city and the state, and I want to thank you for pushing us, and I want to thank you for all the incredible work you do. And overall, I just want to say thank you. 5 years ago, we said that we would get to a point where we have 100% of the residents of our city less than a 10-minute walk to a park. In 5 years, we got to that point. A lot of work went into it, a lot of vision by people. So I want to thank you for making it happen.
Thank you, Mayor. I really appreciate it. Thank you. The mayor is right about almost everything, but he's especially right about the fact that I have an extraordinary team. So another round of applause for the Boston Parks and Recreation Department. Also very grateful for the Environment Department who's out here today. And I also very grateful, we have to be reminded that it's not just the Boston Parks Department, the Department of Conservation and Recreation, the Trustees of Reservations, and of course Massport, who has some of the finest parks in the entire city, represented here today by Liz Della Russo. Excuse me, I'm supposed to say Becker, I apologize. Elizabeth Becker, but we're very grateful for everyone else who is the stewards of these open spaces that we have access to, and especially the Boston Public Schools, who are perhaps some of our most important open spaces, which is the actual playgrounds where our kids play in. But now it gives me a great pleasure to introduce to you another fantastic partner for the city of Boston, and an old dear friend, especially to the Environment Department at Boston City Hall. Representing the Trust for Public Land, please give a warm welcome back to Benita Hussein.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Mayor Walsh, of course, and thanks to everybody for being here. I've known Chris for a long time, and it's been really fabulous to see his trajectory, and I commend his achievements here. First, I'd like to actually give another round of applause to Boston, congratulating them to having reached 100% access. The 10-Minute Walk campaign works with cities large and small to improve park access and quality across all of these cities. When we first set out to launch this national movement with the National Recreation and Parks Association and the Urban Land Institute, Mayor Walsh was an early and enthusiastic signer. He understands that easy access to parks improve and transform cities to become more inclusive and equitable, and they improve the quality of life for everybody who lives in those cities. So it's no surprise to us that Boston is one of those first cities to have reached this tremendous, tremendous goal. For years, Boston has shown its commitment to the value of parks, between re-envisioning the Emerald Necklace to elevating its value when it comes to its fight against climate change, whether that means it's helping cool the city in the face of a warming climate, stem flooding after large storms, and all of the incredible benefits parks bring. And our Trust for Public Land, including our local Boston office, has been a long-time partner with the City of Boston, starting in 1982, having done everything from expanding green spaces from East Boston to Mattapan and soon Grove Hall, to helping map out some of the hottest spots in the city to start targeting our most important green infrastructure, again, to fight climate change. And now with our national team and this 10-minute walk campaign, working with Chris Cook on helping really target those investments to increase access to parks, we just find we're incredibly fortunate and lucky to have them as partners. This administration has really recognized this power that parks bring to municipal priorities, everything from public health to fostering community and improving the environment. And while it might be a long road for many other cities to reach this 100% mark, we know that they can also follow the leadership of Boston in thinking creatively and strategically about the ways that they build their cities, the way they improve the lives of its citizens, and the way that everybody can benefit from these parks. So I'm thankful again to Boston's leadership, and I'm proud to celebrate with them today. So on behalf of the 10-Minute Walk campaign and the Trust for Public Land, congratulations to Mayor Walsh, to Chief Cook, and to all Bostonians that benefit from these efforts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Janina. Really appreciate that. All right, so the next speaker has a really, really tough job. I also want to thank, of course, the National Park Service and Superintendent Creasy, who's actually representing the Park Service down in D.C. He can't be with us here today, but if you give the National Park Service a round of applause, too, what they do in Boston is tremendous. But the next speaker has a really tough job because there's the Friends of the Public Garden, there's the Friends of Christopher Columbus Park, there's the Friends of Almarn Park, there's the Friends of Herder Park, there's all these friends groups who actually make these parks sing. The reason these parks are beautiful is because of folks like the Emerald Necklace Conservancy and everyone who organizes the volunteer cleanups, who raises the money, who cares about the Parks Department, who cares about making sure that these agencies are appropriately staffed, who also calls those parks leaders to task when they're not doing their jobs. It's the park advocates who really drive the bus in Boston. We're very, very grateful to have a very strong system of friend group here in the city of Boston. Here, representing the Boston Parks Advocates, is Marie Fukuda.
Good morning. On behalf of the Boston Park Advocates, it's an honor to be here with you to celebrate Boston Park's Walk Score. It's an incredible achievement that today each citizen in Boston lives within 10 minutes of a park, something that makes a real difference to the lives of the more than 685,000 people who live here. As a resident and a park advocate, I've seen the critical value parks have in providing people with green spaces that are our gardens, our children's playgrounds, our gyms, and a calm oasis for all. I'm thrilled each time I read the increasing evidence that parks matter, not only for the environmental benefit for cities and ecosystems, but for the social, physical, and mental value they provide for the health of our families and our communities. The Boston Park Advocates are a network of friends groups and individuals working since 2004 for a vibrant and healthy city. We seek to elevate the status of parks and share the message that parks, schoolyards, athletic fields, community gardens, urban wilds, and more are important to every Boston neighborhood. We help communities achieve their open space goals, and all along we've had the support of our true park heroes. We wouldn't be celebrating here today if it weren't for the work of our park's amazing champions. Thanks to Mayor Walsh for understanding that world-class parks require the support and the sustained commitment of the City of Boston. And thanks to Chief and Commissioner Cook for working with constituents who ask for and who receive responsive support for their neighborhood's parks. We see what's been accomplished, and we thank you and all the departments and staff who work each day to make sure all of us have a park to call home. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marie. It was really good. So at this time, we're going to close the program. I'm going to ask the speakers and the electeds to gather around the poster celebrating this milestone. And I would just like to congratulate everyone here. Congratulations on being within a 10-minute walk to a park. Thank you so much for joining us today. 100%. Congratulations.